Okay, good morning. We have Jerica here. She will be speaking on what it's like to be AutoCAD or a draftsman. We have started recording the sessions. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to IM them in the chat box and she will address them at that time. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome. Okay, so yes, my name is Jerica De La Garza, and I actually grew up in the Golden Crescent area. So I'm originally lived in Port Lavaca, but I now live in Dallas. Been here for a few years now, and yeah, so I just want to talk to you guys just a little bit about what I do. So I work for Perk Engineering currently, which is out of Fort Worth right now. Our office is near the TCU area right there, if you're familiar with Fort Worth. And I am a designer there for Perk Engineering. I've been there for about 5 years now. I've been doing CAD or design work for almost, let's say, close to, or I've been in the industry for close to 20 years. I am in the oil and gas business and have been in the oil and gas business for quite some time, like I said. So I just want to talk a little bit of how I got started in this field. So I actually took 3 years of drafting inside of high school, and I'm not sure that that's something that they continue to offer, but it was a program inside of our local high school that allowed us to take 3 years, and that included some manual drafting and very hands-on, and also some AutoCAD classes as well. So I started there in high school. From there, I just loved the technical aspect of it, the mechanical side of it, and the fact that you could do so many things with it. And so that's why I kind of pursued that field and went to college for this. So I got my Associates of Applied Science from Victoria College. There they had the drafting program as well. Again, I'm not sure if that's something that they still offer there or not. I know back then it was pretty, there was a whole lot of people in our class. So that was something that I just continued to do even outside of high school and went into college and, had a degree. Once I got my degree, I then moved to Houston, Texas, and started my oil and gas, went to an oil and gas company there, and started from the bottom, and I was doing just some clerical work, and I started slowly getting into being like GIS support, which I would go in and just, if anybody needed any help or needed some text updates or anything like that, I would go into AutoCAD and just kind of help them and support them in that way. So I started at the very bottom, and I worked my way up inside of the company, and I became a designer one, and then now I'm what you would call a senior designer now. So there was definitely, it took some time to get to where I'm at today. It wasn't a very quick process, but inside of that was just learning new things. So I was through AutoCAD, I learned several other programs. So there's several programs out there for you to learn. There's CADWorks, which I do a lot of work with. It's a 3D modeling program that works alongside AutoCAD, so it's a part of AutoCAD. There's also a Navisworks program that goes along with it too, which is kind of just a really cool 3D. If you don't know what's all out there as far as 3D modeling goes, these are some great programs that you can kind of just look into and see what's out there, watch videos. But they're allow you to see things in 3D. And a lot of our clients really, really like to see what it is that you're doing. And I'll give you a little bit of example of what that looks like here in a bit. But what I do on a day-to-day basis. So I, again, work for an engineering group. We're on the engineering side of it. And I work with a bunch of project managers, electrical engineers, civil engineers, piping engineers, mechanical engineers, and we come up with drawing packages for our clients. So we have clients that come to us, they want us to draw launcher or receiver sites or meter sites, whatever it is that they are wanting to build out there right now. And they take that and they bring us the design and ask us to come up with something. And so we have to sit there and I'll model it up, draw it up, and then have that sent to the client. They review it, and then they'll come back with any just questions or changes or anything like that. So I'm constantly making several types of packages. There's packages for review, there's packages for bid and construction and all of that. So there's a whole process of and then there's several clients in the midst of this as well. So you don't always have one client, you'll have a few clients coming in and having to create different sites for each client in the midst of that, right? So it takes a lot of what's the word, just to be very flexible in that time, because you're not working with one person or one client, but you're having to take on a whole lot at once. So you just have to be flexible. It can be, it could be a little bit overwhelming if you allowed it to, but it's a very fast-paced environment, and just the need to be very flexible. And I love that. That's a part of my job that I really do enjoy. I enjoy the fast pace, that it's different every day, that it's not the same. And I also love that you have the ability to be creative, because these clients are coming to you and all they have is an idea, and then you go in and then you make that idea real. So there's a level of creativity inside of that. There's a level of just being able to, like I said, just to be able to design those things and have fun in the midst of that you're able to do these things from nothing. So you create something from nothing, and then you're able to hand over this drawing package to a client that they just envisioned it for you. So that's a part of the job that I really just enjoy, and working with others and just being a part of a team. Really, we're all different, and so it really does allow you to be able to just communicate and talk with people inside of your group that is great to be around. So then let's see, what I actually do too, it requires, of course, for you to be able to read. You have to be able to read drawings. You have to be able to read what you're putting on each drawing. There's like BOM information, which BOM stands for bill of materials. So you have to know all the materials that you're placing inside of, your launcher or your receiver sites or meter sites, whatever it is. And then it's going to take some math. You're going to have to figure out some angles. You're going to have to see how long, the site needs to be. If they're giving you a 50 by 50 site, you have to be able to fit everything in a 50 by 50 site. So it's going to take some math for sure. And then just being able to, read and understand what you're looking at as well. And then let's see, any additional training that I had, I was able to do within the company that I work for that time. And so if there's anything, and there's a lot out there, so you can always enhance your skills. You don't always have to be doing, the same thing. You could be, move up into other departments or anything like that. So it really just depends on the company that you work for that provides training. And that's highly encouraged, because we want to continue to just learn and evolve and change throughout. And learning new things is great. And there's so much out there. So every year something new comes out as far as our program and stuff. So it's good to be able to have that. And then for as far as right now, as far as COVID and everything that's been going on with COVID. So as you can see, I'm not in my office today, but, and I've been actually working from home, which is another nice thing, is like everything is you're able to do just from home. You need your internet, you need your program loaded on your laptop or computer, and then you need a couple of monitors. So it doesn't take a whole lot to be able to do what I do, but you do have that ability to work from home, which has been quite nice. So I've been home for 2 months now, just working. The work has not slowed down at all. So COVID hasn't had too much of an impact currently right now, even though the oil and gas business has been hit. We're not seeing anything from that right now. And then we're having to, I know when the office is open, that they're going to have us require us to wear masks and, that type of thing for safety, obviously. And we want to be very, just aware of that for our coworkers and stuff. So that's been a little bit of changes. It's taken some adjustments to be able to work from home a little bit, but I do enjoy it, and it's been great to have that as well. Okay, so we have, I don't know if I want to answer this question now, if that's okay, but there is a couple of questions. So one of the questions is, have you had any bad experience working with clients? So the great thing also about my job is when dealing with clients, majority of the time, not all the time, but majority of the time, they're dealing with the project managers. And so there's a buffer between, me and the client. So I don't get a whole lot of, I don't have to have a whole lot of contact with the clients, but there definitely has been, of course, with any industry, there's always going to be a client that, will constantly ask for changes, or will, maybe it'll take a lot more work and effort to make that client happy. And again, that's any industry, right? But for sure, it's taken quite a few times where we've had, that one client that just would constantly ask for changes. And then you have to be, have to be flexible in that, because they are paying you to create a product that they're happy with. And so even in the midst of that, it's like you just give what the client wants. So that's something that is a good part as well, is that I don't have to be in constant contact with the client. That's what the project manager will sit there and go through with them. So it says, one more question. It says, do you feel that work will pick up more after COVID, even though it has not slowed at this point? Yeah, so, oil and gas business is, always, it has its moments where it's just down, and then it just comes right back up. And we're already starting to see that. The thing with that is it's all up to the client. So it's dependent on whether the client wants to spend money right now and whether they have the money, because, a lot of companies are losing money. And so I feel that by the end of this year, we'll begin to see more and more projects. And then for us, we are a smaller company, so that's probably why we haven't seen so many changes for our group right now, because we are smaller. But I know like the much bigger companies inside of like Houston and stuff are starting to slowly lose work and lose projects and jobs. And so we've been thankful that we haven't had to have that at all. Okay. And let's see. Oh, one more question. Is your industry still male dominated? If so, how do you feel you are accepted as a female? Definitely, for sure. So my industry, I have always been probably one of two women inside of my office. And I've never been discouraged really by that at all. I feel that I bring something to the table, like I offer something to the table, and I hold my own when it comes to just ideas and thoughts, and people listen. People do listen to me, even though I'm a woman. I do have unique situations because I'm a mom. Sometimes I have to go watch my child do a play at school or something. And so those little things of being mom, they know that that's important to me because I've made it very clear to them and my boss, and they fully support me. Like they don't, look down upon me and all that. So I know in the past that's been something that I used to stress about, you know, just being the only woman in the office and stuff, but being in the industry for so long, it's just, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect my work or anything like that. I enjoy, you know, having a group of, you know, they're friends really, you know, at this point, you know, we've worked together for so long. Some of them we've worked together for 15 years. And so, yeah, I think it can be a little bit tricky being the only two girls in the office, but only if you can't adapt quickly or, you know, adjust quickly. It's something I just really don't even notice anymore because it's just second nature. But it's definitely is. Yeah, that's a good question. It definitely is a male dominated industry, but I don't want girls or women to think that they cannot, you know, be a part of this industry because it's just male dominated, because it's not the case at all. And I want to show you guys, if I can share my screen with you guys quickly, just an example of a job that I'm currently working on for a client. And let me see if I can share. Here we go. And I just want to show you like the capability of what you could do. And I hope you guys are seeing this because I'm not sure. And if you're not, just type it in the chat and there it is. Okay. So this is just like I mentioned earlier, a launcher and receiver site that I'm currently working on for a client. And this is kind of what you're going to be. Let me zoom in a little bit. Sorry. So as you can see, you're going to be working with a lot of survey files, and it just shows you a bunch of just boundary lines of where it's at on the map. You'll be dealing with Google Earth as well, so you can see it in real world and all these things. So there's a lot of things that you're going to associate inside of these quote unquote projects or jobs. And again, this one is in CADWorks. So if you want to look up the program, it's called CADWorks Plant, and it's a 3D program. And as you can see, this is what I'm currently just drawing up, and it's all in 3D other than the flat boundary lines and stuff like that you're seeing. You'll see a fence line. This is the site. You'll have your gates. This is your center line of your pipeline. You're going to have some civil work on there. So you'll see some supports in here. And so these are things that you probably normally wouldn't pay attention to if you're driving by it. But hopefully this will get you to kind of see like, oh, hey, I see these around town, and notice that that's what these are. This is what you will draw up. And there's different views that you can show. This is a conceptual view, so it's not everything's hollow, but you can see everything's solid. And so these are the drawings that I'm creating for clients as I'm giving them drawing package. So this is just an isometric view that I have currently shown. But there's several in there. I'm creating a full drawing package, and a drawing package could vary. It could be from anywhere from 15 pages to 50 pages. It's just dependent on how much they want to show and how much they have on that current site and how much they're building. And there's so much to take into consideration. And you're building not only a piping mechanical package, but you're also doing the civil part of it as well. So that's just to give you a little bit of insight of kind of how cool is that you're able to create something so unique for your client. Okay, perfect. Yes, you said you can see it. Yeah, I think that being able to visually see that really opens up just, again, your thoughts and how you can create these things. And it's so fun to be able to see the full package and the final package. And that's what you give your client, because your client gets excited too at the end of the day to see like, oh, this is exactly what I envisioned, or, you know, they'll come back with some changes, which is fine. But all of this started, like I said, 20 years ago, and getting in the industry. And again, I worked my way up. And inside of that, there's so much you can do. So this is just a part of what AutoCAD can do. There's so many other, you can do architectural, you could do commercial. So there's so much more that you can do with this as well. I pursued this just avenue of, like I said, the oil and gas industry, but you can go into several different industries. It does not have to be this specific one. Like you can, like I said, if you're more drawn to architecture, then do architecture, because you can do so much with that. You could do floor plans, you could do elevations and all these things to show a house. And that's exciting. Or you could do commercial, you know, that there's a lot of things inside of commercial that you can do with AutoCAD. So it's very limitless. There's so much that you can do with it. It's just dependent on what works for you and what makes you happy at the end of the day. So I hope you feel encouraged to be able to just go and look into it a little bit more. And if you guys have any more questions, like, I'm happy to just help you and direct you in any way that I can. Any other additional programs that you want to know about or learn about, these are all certificates that you can probably look into as well, that you can get inside of your local college or wherever you may live, schools as well. So I think, is there any other questions? I think that's it that I'm seeing anyways. Raquel, are you seeing any other questions?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
Okay.
If y'all do think of something, please feel free to email me. I could forward those questions along to Jerica, and then she can reply back and we can connect you all. If that's all the questions we have for today, I appreciate your time and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you all.
Yes, thank